Hello, guys, gals, everything in between and out of the spectrum. My name is Joe Dirt, and today I'm here with this handsome man, Chigen, and also Dom is here. I'm kidding. You're beautiful too, buddy. No, don't drink it. No, stop drinking. No, don't. Yeah, put it down. No. Okay. Chug. No, Chug. I thought you were just your eyes widened. I thought you were turning. I was like, no.
I heard the magic 4 letters and I got excited.
No. Yeah. So first off, let's go through and we'll get to that in a minute. We have unlimited amount of time. No, I'm just kidding. We don't. But today we are going to be we are taking it's been 2 weeks. However,
God, are you watching me?
Black Cat, thank you for the host, dude. Thank you. Appreciate you. We are taking a little bit of break. Our DM is waiting at the airport, so well wishes to Lamus. I hope everything goes well. So we are taking some time to get to know the cast. Dom was not able to appear last episode, so we're gonna get into what he's drinking, how he got into tabletops, as well as other things and what draws him into DMing and stuff like that. So first we are gonna go through our normal shilling and our normal sponsors and stuff, and then we'll get to that question. So, if you guys have not heard, since he pointed it out first, our lovely group called Hero Approved. I still need to get Dratsum's link in there. I've been slacking. So here's our team link in the chat. And if you are watching this on YouTube, we'll link the Hero Approved link in the description below of these videos so you can check them out. Because they're amazing beans. We all are very high quality, and we all love, tabletops, video games, and it's a great time. They're just great people. But for our first sponsor, Raise Energy. If you're looking for a clean burning energy drink that is low on calories, zeros on sugar, or a sleep aid, which I use daily, then I recommend Raise Energy because, hell, they sponsor this channel, and they're just wonderful beans. Use the code JOEDIRT to get yourself 15% off your order. Also, if you were looking for a tabletop or tabletop accessories, Legendcraft is our second sponsor. Yes. Legendcraft makes high quality gaming accessories, as well as they're sponsoring our giveaway with a wonderful spell tracker. So use code JOEDIRT. Yeah. Use code JOEDIRT to get yourself 5% off. It's great. They're good Canadian boys. And for our last shilling of the night, I'm going to talk about our giveaway, because our giveaway is kind of dope. So if you are on YouTube and or on, doing the thing, I'm gonna post this. Do you see this right here? This right here? You guys can't see it, but do you see this little advert here? Look at this little ad. At 500 followers, I'm doing a giveaway, y'all, here on Twitch. I'm giving away 3 sets of freaking books. This whole giveaway is about like $1,000, y'all. All free for you. It's great. All you have to do is follow and be following the channel, and you can get like fucking stuff. Also, by the way, also do D&D giveaway. There's 2 of them, Dom. That's why you're reading. I'm also doing a Final Fantasy giveaway, but no, it's D ampersand D.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
We've been using D&D Beyond for so long, it's a habit.
I know. So we're also giving away 2 sets of dice. Plus, we're giving away 3 starter kits. Giving away books. We're giving away to the first prize winner. We're giving all that away and a spell tracker, y'all. Like shit, freaking for free. Loot. Yeah, dude, fat loot's not to mention I'm doing even a giveaway for Final Fantasy. Still working on the ad, guys. One of those sets will be mine. Yeah.
One of
You
those
gotta
sets will
enter.
not be mine because I already have enough dice. I shouldn't get more.
Well, I mean,
'Cause
you
if I
can do.
get more,
I mean,
it's like
if you
tattoos.
win, I mean, you can do your own giveaway. You can give it away to somebody else that you know. Who knows? I mean, hell, you might as well enter. It's free stuff. Even if you don't need the dice, even if you don't need the books, give them away to
See,
somebody else. Yeah.
the problem is it's like tattoos. If I get one, I'm gonna want more.
True. And
And
is
I
there
already
so? Is that so
I,
wrong?
I, it's not wrong, but that doesn't mean it's right.
Hmm. But is
So,
it? Why does it sound like someone's like slapping their thighs together? I have no clue why. All I heard was like, I have no clue. But the click clacks gives math rocks. Yeah. So if you are all looking to, if you're watching this over on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and perchance, come check us out on the Twitch channel. Play some actual Dungeons and Dragons if you like to hear our savory, smooth voices, and also just hang out with us because it's great. It's a good time. But other than that, my shilling is done. So let's dive into this. But first, in case if people don't know, let's start with Chigen. Since you were here last episode, tell people who you are. Where can they find you?
Hello, I am Chicken Atomic, or Chicken_Atomic, on most of the socials.
you're very quiet, my friend.
I'm not doing much currently because I'm kind of out in the boonies. But I hope that will improve within the next year and a half. And honestly, besides that, I ain't got much going on.
You can't hear him?
He's very quiet.
Oh.
Sounds like you're a yard and a half away from your microphone.
And it sounds like you have like an AC unit just blowing at you. He sounds far away. Yes, audio. Better? All right.
How's that sound? Does that sound better?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, he's also talking away from his mic. His mic is over here, and he's talking this way. So, I mean...
And I sounded like I had an AC unit blowing directly at me because I had an AC unit blowing directly at me.
Nice. Nice. I was sitting there...
I've had my fan on all day, and I forgot to turn it off before we started streaming.
Well, it's hot, so I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking hot, dude. Like, you're in Florida. But Dom, people, since you weren't here last week, tell us who you are. Tell us about you. Tell us how thick your thighs are.
My thighs are only 2 C's thick. I'm working on that triple C.
Yeah.
Trying to get the vitamin C in me so I can get that third C. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Is that how that works? I don't know.
I don't think it works because we know it has tequila in it. So I mean, it has to. You're not getting vitamin C, or you're essentially getting citric.
But it also has orange juice.
But it's citric.
Tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila.
1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, 4. I don't know how many I have until I'm on the floor.
But where can people find you?
I am your friendly neighborhood Florida man, doing all the Florida man things. Going to Disney World, wrestling gators,
Eating people's skin.
A little bit of that, a little bit of bath salts. The usual Florida things. But you can find me on all the things at Dungeons and Dom. Most recently, for the past week, I've been binging Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which has been tons of fun. Hoping to do some community nights with that, where I just hop on and go, all right, who wants to fight me? And who will probably beat me? Because I am bad at fighting games, yet I still decide to play this game.
Hey, man.
It works. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And so is chat.
The only fighting game I've been good at is Def Jam Fight for New York. That was the only one I was ever good at.
Ooh.
I am one of those people that walks into a round one and is just like, I'm okay at Tekken, and then proceeds to kick everybody's ass because they're worse than me.
Well, Xenoverse isn't like Fighter Z, where it's like in like
Yeah.
the rest of like a lot of fighting games where it's like that 2D style.
Yeah, no.
It's a full 3D environment, and it's rough.
Technically, I would say that, I mean, it's not really, I mean, it is a fighting game, but it's not a fighting game in a sense. It's more of the anime style game, where it has fighting implements, obviously. But it's a Dragon Ball game, so I mean, really, at the end of the day, you don't have the technical combos like you would with a normal fighting game, but you have combos. But it leads up to the skill and then like key and stuff like that. So I mean, you know. It's a Dragon Ball Z game. I mean, it's good though. It's still good though.
Oh, absolutely, and I've been having a shit ton of fun with it.
Yeah.
When I'm not doing that, I'm playing D&D in all of the places. Here, usually on Friday nights with this wacky little crew. On Monday night, I play with my Bean team, as we have been calling ourselves the Ligma Legion, as Jelly has named us. It is a very chaotic time. All of them are either it is their first campaign or second campaign, so they're all very new to D&D, and they have been having an absolute ball with it. And I have been getting those that are even newer, like and this is their first campaign. They have been absolutely addicted. They're like, "Why did you do this to us?" I'm like, "You asked for this."
As well, we have Chigen dancing around in the background.
Oh yeah, Chigen!
Dance for us, monkey.
Look at the cake. But yeah, when I'm not doing Monday nights with you or with my crew, Friday nights with you guys, then I do Saturday nights with the Liching Hour, where it's not D&D but still role play. That's with Jelly Gato with the Liching Hour and a whole bunch of other cast, and we have a bunch of fun times. If you're down for just pure shenanigans, that's what I do.
Yeah, awesome. So, what kind of D&D stuff have you guys gotten up to in the past week? Any fun things?
Right now we're kind of in an in-between phase, as they're kind of finalizing the arc that they're in right now.
So when am I going to be able to come on and clap some cheeks?
Hopefully when this arc is finished and they get through like the BBEG of this little saga. I'm very excited for that storyline between Kemdir and Dredge. I really want to see that play out.
I'm a clap cheeks, man.
I know you will, buddy. I fucking know you will.
Not too hard. I won't clap him to death, but I'm gonna clap some cheeks though.
You're gonna clap him to 1 HP, and if you go past it, then you'll pick him right back up and go, all right, come on, get up.
Nah, but no, that's fun and exciting. I'm happy to see like some new aspiring blood come into the tabletop sphere, because everybody needs it. That's precisely why I'm doing the giveaway, because a lot of it's monetary now with D&D Beyond and having one person own the books. I mean, you kind of it just kind of goes from there. But Chicken, have you done anything D&D related in the past week or anything? I do have something to show you all. I blame Switch, so this is a shout out to Switch on Twitch. Like, I blame him, and I blame Best Wife for this. I'm gonna show you guys. Hold on.
As soon as you lift it up, your butt crack was showing a little bit.
Hey, dude, gotta tip, please. No, I'm just kidding. I bought Clue.
D&D Clue. I love it.
Yeah, dude, like it has like the collectible tokens and stuff. Like it's just like Jesus.
Fun fact: they double as minis.
They do. Well, yeah. Well, no, these ones don't. Well, technically, yeah, they could be like items, but yeah, no, I'm super stoked about that because it's like it's all set in Baldur's Gate apparently.
Gross.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, never again.
Fucking do it in Waterdeep or something.
Yeah.
Not fucking.
Well, I think this came out about around the time Descent into Avernus came out. Because if you,
Shocker.
do you remember this? Do you remember this art?
Yeah,
I remember this art.
I fucking do.
And also,
I don't want to remember that art, but I remember that art.
but also, Dom, you didn't see this, but check this out. This is more for just Dom.
I've seen it in stores before, and I've been debating on picking it up.
This is new. This one just came out.
I went to Target about 2-3 weeks ago, and I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I saw either that or I saw it on like a Facebook ad or something because Facebook knows that if there's two things I love, it's games and D&D.
Yeah,
So
these ones are the ones that double as minis.
there you go.
So you have your, rogue, paladin, fighter, ranger, wizard. I'm excited to play this because I'm just like, hell yeah, dude. Because eventually, if we all get together and we do a board game night, if I can get a setup together, it'd be dope. Play, some Monopoly. I'm down for it. I'm down for it. I'm living.
All for it.
Yeah, but I showed that off last week. The Clue I just picked up, and I blame Switch for that one because he's just like, well, I blame Switch and Best Wife because they linked me to the Amazon link, and immediately I said buy it now. I'm just like, yeah, that happened. That happened.
One click. Oh shit, that's too late.
Oh, I
Well,
slipped. Oh
we
man. It's coming on Tuesday. Ooh. But yeah,
oh
no.
shucks, what a bummer.
What a bummer. Now I'm gonna start collecting D&D esque games. Oh man, I have a cookbook now. Yeah, I hate it when that happens, right, Kat? It's the worst. It's the worst. Just just slips. But no, that's all the paraphernalia I bought for the week. I mean, other than that, I'm just.
I didn't want to cut you off, but this morning at 1 a.m., I received a message from Allegory, one of the players from my Monday night campaign.
Yeah.
And I wrapped up my stream around 11:30. I did a 12-hour stream.
Yeah.
At 1 a.m., I received a message, Dom, I can't stop making D&D characters. Help me. Cries in not enough time for a different campaign every day. And she sent me the art and base description of this character that she's created. Because this is what happens because she was originally the one who reached out to me and said, hey, so what about this D&D thing that you told me about? And now she's obsessed, and I'm just like, this is the life you live now. Welcome to
you don't want to look at my you don't want to look at my D&D D&D Beyond account and how many characters I have created.
Exactly. You see that unlimited character count, and you're just like, challenge accepted.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how much server space you actually have until you say no.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it's super fun. I mean, especially I will say is I wish D&D Beyond, if you ever see this in the future, or I mean if you're somehow watching this at this moment or something, I mean if you want to sponsor me and my channel, I mean I've been paying the yearly subscription. I've been double dipping to Wizards of the Coast. I mean, I buy the paraphernalia. I mean, I'm a huge fan, I'm one click away from, getting the legendary bundle, hey, it's up. I pre-order. No, but yeah, no, D&D Beyond's made everything for 5th edition so accessible. If you seriously guys, if you guys have not, go check it out. I know people are just like, oh, it's a Critical Role uses it, blah blah blah, and has just get that out of your mind. It's actually a good program.
Yes.
The fact that you can use it on a mobile device. Their old mobile app sucked. It was garbo, but their new one, nice.
I can confirm after using pen and paper, after using Roll20 and different services that are use this to manage your character sheet, I can say without a shadow of a doubt in my mind that D&D Beyond is the best service I've ever used.
Yeah, because I mean the thing is, it goes pen and paper, Roll20, and then as best is D&D Beyond. Like, because Roll20s is nice for like the clicking, but it's the inputting that is, it's rough. It's not impossible and it's not bad. It's just, it can be rough.
But if you don't have pen and paper, like if you don't have it in your compendium or you're doing homebrew stuff, you may as well just be doing pen and paper.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Is just like a lot of tabletop softwares, like Dungeon Fog, integrates with D&D Beyond on purpose. It's just great. You pull up your character sheet. Like I want to do a podcast about VTTs or not really a podcast. I'd say just a YouTube episode, because me and Lamus were talking about it, doing like a recording thing. We'd probably sit down and talk about like different VTTs and things like that, because and nowadays, from what I've seen, VTTs, especially with the world that we live in, it's opening up a bit more and more people are, you know, doing home games, but VTTs have become the way of the future, and especially for content creators here on Twitch or any other platform, it's massive, and you almost need it if you're going to you know, build a game and build a world, because I like what you've done with your campaign, having like the overarching world with just like, you know, labels. Like, do you create your own maps or do you buy them? Or like towns,
like the towns. I rip them off of Google Images.
Okay.
And then I will either edit my like the scenario. So the world is like set in a very like loose Faerun Forgotten Realms. Like it's still like the general like town here, Waterdeep, Neverwinter, like all of like those surrounding things, because it makes it easy for overall world maps, locations, deities. And then when I go into the actual towns themselves, I try and find ones that have it numbered. And then I will, if it doesn't already have a compendium on the side that has those numbers, then I will give it to my crew either in the Roll20 chat or in the Discord chat, so that they know what building like has certain like commodities and whatnot. And if they're looking for something specific, and if it's not clear by like the list, then they just ask me and I can go, well, you can either go to this number here, this number here, or this number here. Because then they also get a better sense of, okay, where are we, what like is in the area. So like if I tell them, all right, so the targets that you're looking for are numbers 18, 21, 22. They go, okay, so that's one to the south, two to the west. So let's head over to the west side. And
West side?
West side.
Sorry, continue.
Because that's what's happening now. So there's 4 different nobles that they're like tracking down in the city because they realize that they're changeling imposters. So they're like, okay, so where are they all at? So they know like exactly where they're at, instead of like, okay, so yeah, there's one generally over here, one generally over here. It kind of helps consolidate it better to where
and it moves smoother than having them to go for rolling. When they roll to find the information, they find it. It makes it overall smoother, in my opinion. As well as now we're gonna, before we go off on like a huge tangent, we're gonna roll back and we're gonna dive in and Dom, let's get to know you a little bit more.
No, I can't do it. I have an NDA about anything in my past history. I can't talk about anything.
Okay, thank God. Good. I didn't want to know. Okay, continue. Moving on forward. No, I have an
NDA with myself due to post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that. I'm not going to make you cry on a podcast. I'm going to save that for when I DM a one shot.
Fuck it. You've already done it. What, 2-3 times now?
Pretty much. I've figured out the formula to make you cry. So
bring up any of my trauma from my past, and you've known me for about two years now. So like,
it's going on 2 years.
Going on 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, no, it would be our friend anniversary was in June, so June, July.
Because it was right
about around now.
Because you joined the campaign like right after I moved down to Florida, which was May of 2019.
Yeah, so our friend anniversary, our 2-year friend anniversary would actually be around this
Like
I-
yeah, like almost right now.
almost right now, like
Happy,
pretty much.
happy 2 year, buddy.
Hey, you still infuriate me, but hey, you're fun though.
as is tradition.
Yeah, this is true.
If I didn't infuriate you, would it be the relationship that we have?
I think it would be better. No, I'm just kidding. Rough. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's my love to you. We're at that point. Where I just sick burn you every single time, but then I give you a hug afterwards.
Then you're not here to give me a hug, so I just have to drink and forget about it.
Yep. Come back to Illinois, and I will physically drive to you and give you a hug.
First week of July.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Guess what? My birthday is July 3rd.
And I will be back home for it.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'll be available though, because July 4th is my cousin's wedding. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not planning on I'm planning on going and doing I'm gonna go. Well, I'm just gonna go eat duck like a rich fancy man. I don't know. I'm just gonna go eat duck for my birthday. I don't know. Other than that,
not even at a restaurant. I'm just gonna go in my backyard and find one. And then
oh no, I'm going to a Vietnamese. I'm going to a real nice Vietnamese restaurant. Like a whole duck costs like $50. It's actually more than that. But...
I just go to the roadkill butchery.
Yeah.
You kill it, we grill it.
Yeah, there you go. But no, back to the
my past, my life.
Well, no, not really your past in your life. We're not going to go into. It's not that kind of podcast. I mean, we could, but it's not that kind of podcast. What is I want to go back in like your first interactions with D&D, because me and Chigen, like if any of you watched the last podcast or watching this on YouTube, and whenever the videos are uploaded, we went back into like our first interactions with Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, and just like it doesn't even have to be sitting down at a table for playing the first time. Like I want to know, like even before that, I want to know like what was your earliest interaction. Like for a lot of us it was back in the like the late 90s with video games, because I'll reiterate mine. Like my first interaction was with Pool of Radiance, like the actual computer game. And I didn't know it said Dungeons and Dragons on it. I had no clue what it was. I just thought it was a cool computer game. You know, so like, I want to go further back. Like what's your earliest interaction or memory with like anything Dungeons and Dragons related? So, or if you didn't know and now you know, and you're just looking back and going like, holy shit, wait, that was Dungeons and Dragons, you know?
The closest I would have ever gotten with it, honestly, would have been the early days of World of Warcraft. That's about the closest I could get to it. Because back then it was back when I would go visit my dad for like weeks at a time, when he was on leave, or if he wasn't on tours and whatnot. Like we would hang out for like weeks at a time, and he used to play D&D growing up, and he was very much like how I am now, very gaming centric, very nerdy, like all the kind of shit. So
you gaming eccentric and nerdy?
Never.
Never.
No, but like we would sit down for like 8 to 12 hours at a time just playing WoW together. Not doing like the giant like boss raids or anything, but literally just going around questing, like leveling up our characters. Like that's about like the closest thing to D&D I ever did, up until I did the campaign with Mike way back, like back in the day. So up until about 2015, 2016, I got tipped off to the Adventure Zone podcast.
Okay.
And listened to that like just religiously. I was listening to it like on the car rides to work, on my breaks, car rides back, like any like free time I had in my day before I like actually hopped like with a character sheet and everything was the podcast. And the more I listened to it and the more I started to understand like mechanics and like how fun the game could be with the right people, I was like, okay, I need to do this. I need to find someone or something. And I was working with Mike at the time at Walmart, and we were like talking about it, and there was a running joke of like like, so because back then I was technically his supervisor, and like I mentioned something about like the Adventure Zone or D&D or something. He's like, "Oh my god, you're a fucking weeb, aren't you?"
You
um,
are though. You are though.
yes. But at the time, I was more of a closet weeb, as I did not understand. Like the most like anime experience I had was like Naruto and Dragon Ball back when they like
Oh.
used to be like on like TV, not like I hadn't like fully immersed myself in subs and like actual fucking animes.
So what do you think about Demon Slayer?
I haven't watched it yet.
You should.
I need to watch Demon Slayer. I need to watch Hunter x Hunter. Like, there's still quite a few ones that I need to get on, because I've had a lull since I'm waiting for the dubs for My Hero Academia to drop for season 5.
You say you're one of those filthy dumb. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Anime community, don't attack me.
I am a filthy dub fan.
Yeah.
Don't
The
at me.
dubs are much higher quality now, to be completely honest.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's like it's one of those things where it's just like it's real good. But I would
Yeah.
say I'll add more to your list. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would recommend because skewing off topic a little bit, but I recently watched the Demon Slayer movie,
Mhm.
and it was real good. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm waiting for season 2 to drop for it, and I'm digging it. It's good. Like the animation, I figured out why I like it so much is because it, like, I was watching, if you guys haven't heard of them, and I don't know how you wouldn't have heard of it, but if you have ever watched the Trash Pit Taste podcast, it's Garnt, Joey, and Sea Dog VA. They're huge. They're absolutely massive AniTubers. They actually put it in a great light on one of their podcasts. It's literally a new version of Bleach, and I love Bleach. So I was just like, this makes a lot of sense. I'm not
Yeah.
going to go into detail why, but if you haven't watched Bleach, I recommend that one too, because aside from like you can skip the filler arcs, but that's a good one of the old classic big threes that I enjoyed. It's just real good. But yeah, I recommend that. And if you haven't, if you want to look for like psychotrauma, I fully recommend, if you want to like, have a panic attack, watch Welcome to the NHK.
Mhm.
That one is a good if you're looking for like a mind bendy kind of thing. It goes into a lot of different like social like inverts and just like the big S word, the Sudoku word, if you know what if you picking up what I'm putting down. Yeah. But also another good one is Parasite Maximum. That's on Netflix, I think, unless they took it down. But yeah, that one's really good. Or if you're looking on Netflix, Devilman Crybaby is on Netflix. That one is A1. Nah, dude, it's so good. Like the art style's real weird, like it's real funky, and it's real good. I love it. But yeah, no, that's my anime takes. Like if you're looking for something like, and if you're looking for a good one, season 1 of Seven Deadly Sins, just season 1,
Specifically season 1.
you'll understand if you go to season 2 or season 3. It's just season 1. It's a it's mid, but
I've heard like random good things about it. But yeah, so like he's like, you're a fucking weeb, aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, I mean, I guess I wouldn't consider myself a weeb. He's like, bro, you're a fucking weeb. It's fine. You're amongst brethren now. I'm like, what? He's like, I got you. And took me into the campaign, which back then it was just the 5 of us. So it was Mike, Nick, Kyle, myself, and Ben, who was there for like 2 sessions and then never showed back up. But he had a lot of life stuff going on.
Yeah.
So like I got to know that group in like back when we did the Warhammer stuff, and then you joined in the Warhammer, and then after that, then we switched over to the 5e campaign. So Peak was Well, no, because before, oh fuck, almost forgot about Dax. So while I was doing that, there was a group of friends of mine that I played Destiny with. We started up a little campaign, and we were using like literally like PlayStation chat as like our mics and whatnot. And there was a like it wasn't Minecraft, but it was like one of those types of games that we were using for. We would literally like share play it, and that's how we managed the maps and everything. Literally just blocks. Here you are. Here they are. Every square is 5 feet. Here's your map. Let's go.
Welcome. This is the future.
Yeah. it was Roll20 and Zoom calls before we knew what Roll20 and Zoom calls were.
Yeah, I mean Zoom was not a thing, until I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it was a thing prior.
It's been a thing because we've had to use it for like work calls and whatnot. So like we used it before it became super duper popular in the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
But like, so I had known about Zoom, but I was just like, we don't need to see each other's faces, and we're already on PlayStation, so why not just do it in PlayStation chat? So that was the first campaign that I'd gotten into, and then the one with Mike, with Peak and all that was the second one, because the Warhammer one is kind of a loose one, and helped kind of establish like a D20 based game, but
yeah, that game was busty, but I mean at the same point it was something. Agretzko is actually really good. Oh, and then also Agretzko also reminded me of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yep, I've also heard good things about that one too.
Yeah, no, that's fucking good. But yeah, back to what you're saying. Yes, definitely. I mean, so you're like technically I would call not.
I'm one of the 5e bandwagoners.
No, I wouldn't say bandwagon. I was gonna say late bloomer to D&D. I wouldn't call it a best. See, I'm not 100% on the whole bandwagon thing, because it's not really a bandwagon. Like, it's a.
I know bandwagon's the wrong word, but like that's kind of like the only like term that I could think of off the top of my head. Yeah. But I think late bloomer is a better word for it, because I never really got into it until I was at least 21. So like
because like my first D&D experience was when I didn't even know it. It was when I was like 10, 11, you know what I mean? And then I started, going into I played like a game or two of like 2E and then 3 and then 3.5, and then I went from that to 4E. I played one game and got fed up, so I went to Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And then 5E.
That's what I hear about a lot of people when they talk about 3.5 and 4E and Pathfinder and all that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things like it's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, like a lot of people will say like a lot of us all agree that 5E is just easier to learn, and
it is the most user friendly for newcomers. Like when I learn, like when I hear about the rules, like. So when I heard about the rules before for like earlier editions, I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And now that I understand like a lot of the mechanics behind D&D now, I'm like, okay, so I understand the concept, but like, yeah, it's just way easier.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, why? Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like Pathfinder was always solid, and it's still pretty solid in some retrospects, because it was Pathfinder, like first edition Pathfinder was essentially pre-5e. Pretty much. I mean, it was literally
4.
just I mean, well, essentially. I mean, I played Pathfinder, and then transitioning to Pathfinder to 5e, I was just like, okay, yeah, a few things changed, but I was like, okay, it's a lot more condensed, but it's like, I'm gonna start off with the heavy question. How do you feel about 5e as a whole? I want to know from a new player's perspective, because I also asked Chigen this as well, but he didn't really have much to base this off of it. But seeing as you've played a few games, and you're at your DMing games, like what are your I guess your pros and woes of 5th edition? And this is this is coming from this is like a curiosity for me, because I'll give you a few of mine. I want to hear what yours are. I mean, as far as like the overarching 5e as a whole, like how do you as a player and as a DM feel about it? Like I want to know your honest like thoughts about it.
As I'm gonna start with as a DM. As a DM, I absolutely love it. Um, it is especially for the campaign that I'm DMing. So when I DM'd Keepers, it helped like get me that base of like running a game, trying to find like that balance between fun but not broken. Um, where I realized I broke it way too quickly, and then after that point, then we just had fun with it. Um, we just said, all right, this is already broken, let's keep fucking going and seeing how much fuel we can add to the fire, and we just kept
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah.
It was less about the stats and the die and more about like what kind of story can we tell and how hard can we make each other laugh throughout the rest of that
I don't know.
campaign.
My 22 intelligence said otherwise.
Exactly. Like you guys
No.
were like what, level 8 at that point and you had a 22 intelligence?
I mean,
Like,
I was already hella smart. I
yeah,
mean,
because you rolled the high as shit, and then I gave you
yeah.
the fucking the book of intelligence.
Yeah.
Um, so
No.
like yeah,
But
like
I was a thonky boy.
funky boy indeed.
Yeah.
So like as a DM, it's very like easy to bring in new players, but it's also very easily adjustable with how the rules are set. There's not too many restrictions per se. Like yes, there's guidelines on things you have to do and ways you have to go about things, but it's very easy to go like for potions, for example, like it's not that difficult to just say, all right, you can use it as a bonus action instead of as an action, and it clears a lot of headspace up. Like minor changes like that can make it so like that much easier to run certain parts of it, which is nice. But then it's also a downside when you're looking at homebrew and there's a lot of like homebrew things that are just absolutely broken, or there's items that
Yeah.
like they're like very like what should be low level items that are way more broken than like higher tier stuff. So like the flame tongue greatsword is great in concept.
Yeah.
It's a sword that turns on fire, but for a rare quality magic item, the fact that you can do 2d6 fire and 2d6 slashing literally whenever, because there's no charges, there's no
Yeah.
like action or anything to like activate it. Like it just, you speak the command word, it happens, and it already does an extra 2d6 fire, and that's it. Like there's no restrictions on it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's within the game itself.
You're essentially swinging two, great axes in one, and
Yeah.
you can have higher chances of getting that, 12 damage, and not that's
It's a blessing and a curse with how simple it is because of things like that, to where it's so easily broken.
yeah.
And then as a player, I I like how easy it was for me to come in, but then it's very like it's coming on in and trying to learn things. It's very easy to fall into the tropes that it sets, of the warlock takes Eldritch Blast. The fighter with a bow is better than a ranger. Can't do I have sneak attack? Like
Yeah.
it's very hard to like avoid the tropes because of how simple the game mechanics are.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's one of those things where it's just like it becomes. We're not going to get into it. It's going to come into the debate of min maxing versus the role players, because I mean there's always a fine balance between both.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I mean everybody is in some way min maxing, because a rogue always asking, "Can I get sneak attack?" That's min maxing, but that's part of their character. Like. That's kind of like that's their bread and butter, but at the same point you're manipulating any kind of like manipulating is a strong word, but you're trying to maneuver, and you're technically manipulating the situation in whatever way can give you advantage, and leaning on other players to give you that advantage as well.
When you have a rogue in the party, especially when it comes to like a melee rogue, you're always looking for a chance to set them up to give them that advantage. So it like no matter what your playstyle would have been already, you're already thinking like, all right, how can I also help them out?
Exactly.
And then there's me playing as a rogue, like especially that I have been for the past 2 years. of always looking for an opportunity. I'm like, all right, do I have an ally within 5 feet? Like, I'm not planning my move for myself. I'm planning, all right, what's the next thing I can do to maximize how much damage I'm outputting, because I only have the one attack.
Exactly.
The classic trope of I didn't ask how big the room was. I said I cast fireball. Like the spells that are like very broken at low levels, or there's a lot of leeway with it. It's great for creativity for things like prestidigitation and minor illusion, but like things like fireball and eldritch blasts that you're just like, okay, why are we still here?
Yeah. And Chicken, how do you feel about this? I mean, we're dragging you into the conversation. You're not just gonna sit there and snack. You've been quiet.
What he meant to say was you can't just sit there and be a snack. You also have to participate.
Yeah.
I kind of do feel the same way. It's like very much you are kind of stuck in your ways as far as different classes are concerned. And like you said about the Ranger, that still bugs me that of all the classes that got Arcane Archer, they gave it to the Fighter rather than the Ranger, who's kind of built to use the bow.
Yeah. And then like, how do you? Okay, so this is gonna be a hot take on my side. We're just gonna get it out of the way because it bugs me, and it still bugs me to this day. I want to get out of the Sword Coast. That's all 5e is. I want to get out of the Sword Coast. I mean, we have Icewind Dale, but that's just literally on the Sword Coast north.
Like,
Go ahead.
I mean, we have Chult, but that's sorry excuse. I mean, don't get me wrong, the
very specific world.
Yeah, but
like
also
a very specific chunk of land.
because like we do have, for instance, we do have. Oh god.
Bend it over one more time.
Yeah, we do have the Candlekeep Mysteries. If you guys don't know what this is, that has like small adventures, in different places. But as far as like anything else, like with, anything that has to do with anything, like, I mean, there's not a full-on adventure. You know what I mean? Like, there's not really anything going into the Underdark, and like, dealing with like, the Fey realm, and going outside of that.
Longest 2014. So it's been out 7 years, and we're finally getting a Feywild book.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing and a curse for what has happened with Sword Coast. It's because it is the most accessible, so it makes it easy to adapt. Like, that's what I did for my campaign.
Yeah.
I took it and I'm said, all right, minor changes, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Because it makes it easy for me to manipulate world building. Instead of having to build a whole new world, I can just build the world around something that's already pre-generated. But the problem is that it continues to be like that. Is because it's the most accessible. That's what's going to continue to happen. It's until the necessity comes to like full on branch out and create something else, or someone sits down and has the time to like flesh out an entire.
Well, it's not the fact that like, don't misunderstand me. I like Faerun.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's more than just the Sword Coast. That's my issue.
Fair. Okay. Yes.
Because if you didn't know, there's a whole other western side. Like, we're literally looking like what if you want to put it in real world standards, the Sword Coast is California essentially. And we've only explored like the bottom part of like, Washington state. And then all of a sudden, like, think of Chult as Hawaii. We went to Hawaii a little bit.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, even like Candlekeep, that's still in Southern California, technically.
Yeah.
Like, well, mid California, probably like LA area, kind of like mid belt. Like, that's the thing that's my biggest issue is they don't explain, any of the other, like, there's a whole. Did you know there's a whole city run by like liches? Like, dead ass. Like, the nobles are
I wouldn't be
liches.
surprised, but it's not when you say that, it's not like, oh yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah,
we ran a one shot there. Like,
did you know there's also a city governed by gray orcs that are civil, that deal with like half elves, elves, halflings. It's literally a whole city governed by gray orcs. And you know, we talked about it a little last time. Like the orcs that we see in 5th edition, they're gray of skin, but those aren't real gray orcs.
Yeah.
Like those, and it's a lot of the common misconceptions people have about a lot of what they're doing. And like there's no Underdark real campaign unless you go and, you know, buy books. Like, yeah, I mean, we have, you know, technically we have like a small portion of the Shadowfell with Ravenloft, but you know, at the same point, you know, there's so much in Faerun that we haven't seen. I want to see more.
Yeah.
I don't want like, don't get me wrong, you know, the book for Wildmount is great. It's great. But, you know, the book to the Fey realm, that's great. Where's the rest of Faerun? Give me the rest of Faerun. Start branching out. So building the world around like the, you know, different parts. Like, let's explore that instead of just the Sword Coast.
Fair.
You know, like that's my biggest beef with it is there's so much in Faerun that nobody knows about unless you played 2, 3, or 4, or even you know the 1E. Like there's just not enough, because like of course I would love going like, you know, a book on the astral space. I would love Starfinder. I would love, you know, Savage, like, you know, I think it's like Savage Worlds. That'd be great. But what I want is, like, if we want to, you know, focus center on D&D, let's build out Faerun. Like there's still so much. Like I would love a book from Blast from the Past because we even have Eberron, which is technically not even part of Faerun. Like, you know, like, don't get me wrong, I love Eberron. Eberron's great. You know, steampunk, that's fucking great.
Steampunk and Warforged and
it's great. But you know, I sit there and I look at it, I'm just like, but
because if we can get like the Sword Coast Adventuring Guide for other realm, like other parts of Faerun, and then help like branch those off and then create more subclasses, subraces, backgrounds, and like things from like those areas, and then continue going forth to where you have more diverse character options and more diverse stories, because now these places are starting to get fleshed out more.
Exactly, because I would love to have, you know, more, you know, race options that we have, like, you know, more intelligent orcs, and have a reason to have more intelligent orcs and half orcs
instead of just like, I want to make more intelligent orcs, so here's my homebrew thing. Like, well,
and not to mention they have like the, you know, the character origin options and stuff, but from Tasha's. But at the same point, you know, having a lore, like I came from this area, that's where I'm from, because then it would be more of a lively world. And, you know, giving us, you know, Grimhollow. If you guys don't know what Grimhollow is, like it's an option of a more grimdark campaign, but they have a guide to turn your players into werewolves, liches, wraiths, everything. Like they give you step-by-step guides to transform your player characters into just about anything.
Yeah.
And you can homebrew it even further to do that. Like the thing is, they could expand on it and teach you how to do that in the 5e sense with like the rituals and stuff like that. Because you could become, what if you wanted to be a cultist? Like what if you wanted to be like an assassin cultist instead of just choosing the background of cultist? Like you could actually have, like, I'm part of this cult of people that, you know, birth like Draco liches. Like, and that's something you can learn.
Yeah.
Like a whole hidden heap of knowledge. Like that'd be so cool. Like, what if you're the one lawful evil person in the party, and you're trying to, you know, raise a Draco Lich, and just like, oh yo guys, I need hey paladin, can you cry for me real quick? because you need the tears of a paladin.
Plucks his nose hair and then is just holding a vial under his eye.
Yeah, just sit there.
No reason.
Yeah, no just
reason.
yeah, just like why? It's just like, oh no. Like I killed your family. What? You just cry. Did you really? Cry and then I'll tell you. Like just like the dynamic would be interesting, and just like being able to have that, have all of that, like just there's a whole wellspring of things that you can do, but they sell us short, and they're just like, well, they're gonna homebrew it. Like that's cool, but what if you don't want to homebrew it? What if you're not confident in your homebrew? Like Stuck in the Sword Coast, like come on now. Like there's so much like to expand on, and the thing is like if you ever want good D&D lore and history, look up Mr. Rex on YouTube. I can't recommend him enough. And if you're looking on different like actual lore from first edition all the way till present, and just it's so cool to learn. But the fact that you have to have someone else teach you the lore of things like that in some respects it has to happen, but still in 5th edition we're not going to get a 5.5e. Like no. That would technically be Tasha's is the revamp everyone's talking about. Like that changed everything. However, we're not going to get a 6th edition anytime soon, maybe in like 20 years or something. Well, maybe, yeah, at this point maybe 20 years. 10, I don't know. It's not going to be anytime soon. And
I'd probably say 10.
10, yeah, 10, 20, I don't know, somewhere around there. But then
I would definitely wouldn't say by 20 we would already have one.
Yeah.
I'd say probably in 10.
Yeah, because like that's the huge thing is like trying to
I'll go on a limb and say by 2030 there's a new edition.
2030? Yeah. I mean, it
9
wouldn't.
years.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, because I mean, eventually they're gonna come up with a simpler system. Like, let's make it. There's no more rolling for HP. It's all done by equation. I don't know.
Welcome back to D&D 60. There's no more dice.
Yeah, it's all done by roleplay. We're taking World of Darkness. Exploding die, literally.
Exploding die, literally. You're gonna take all of the money that you spent on dice. Yes,
Yeah.
you too, you little dice goblin.
Yes, all of it's gonna be gone.
You can still keep them, and you can keep as accessories. And if you want to keep rolling them, you can.
Yeah.
It's not going to mean anything to us, but you can keep rolling them.
Yeah. All jokes aside, though, I'm super. I like the thing is, like, I agree. Like, 5th edition is great, but in some ways it's lacking, and I hope they find a better way to do combat. Because in my opinion, combat's like the weakest point, especially if you're doing large scale combat. Every player and every DM has had that issue of combat, and coming from like a tactile standpoint of the last campaign we were in, measuring out every 5 feet of movement that you've had to make in order to put yourself in the perfect position, as well as trying to essentially 5D chess your way into like, what are my teammates going to do? What are the enemies going to do? Okay, that shifted everything. I mean, that's also fun, but from a viewing it on a stream standpoint, you're not thinking that shit out loud.
I mean, but that's always going to be the disconnect between a tabletop game and streaming it.
Correct. But I, at the same point, I want it to be simpler, like the way the Zweihander does it, where movement isn't really too much of an issue. And there's other ways to, like, I want it to be condensed into, instead of just going, I'm going to roll these math rocks, and, making it something that's more thematic and making it more, condensed and more entertainment than roll my math rocks. I want to roll many math rocks all at once. Like, the thing about it is, it's a damage to HP ratio with Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, how big of a number can I get to take out this big number HP pool? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think we all can agree on that one. And then it becomes, the players become so unruly. It's, well, your HP and your AC are too, or your AC is too great. You're so strong. Now we're just gonna saving throw you to death because you have a weak wisdom or a weak strength. Welcome to Intellect Devourers, barbarian.
I'm gonna sit here and act like I don't know where this is coming from.
This is actual like
I
this is actual like D&D at high levels.
I know it's that at high levels too, but it's funny because I've literally like seen this entire scenario unfold, and it's the funniest thing.
Yeah, and it has unfolded, and I mean that wasn't my intention. However, it is a thing that does happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I will call it like it is. I had a 22 AC, and by the time I was level 20, I would have had a 27 AC. So the only thing you can do at that point is either giving people disadvantage to hit you, and creating multiples of yourself so that they have to hit the multiple with disadvantage with a high AC. Stunk layers, boys. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna cast Fireball. And then I'm going to cast Earth Tremor. Make a dex saving throw, dog. Like, it's... At that point, I mean, yeah. But then it's just like, well, there goes the AC outlet, But I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with paladins, Like, once you get to high levels, like, it's just the thing. Like, that's what I particularly, hope that eventually they figure out on how to make it, a little bit more balanced between, because I'll say I hate the CR ratings. The CR ratings are garbage. For a CR, I think it's CR1, a shadow can annihilate a whole entire party. That's not power scaling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same with Intellect Devourers, man. You get that dumb barbarian with a 6 intelligence, they're about to be a vegetable, dog. If they get hit and they fail, they fail their intelligence save and throw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I would like to hear from both of you is, what would you do to fix it, in your opinion, to make it a bit more balanced, but not ebb and flow in the way of breaking the game, but still keeping the flow. I'd like to hear your guys' solution, because I honestly don't have one. I'm curious to see your guys' thoughts about it. No, go. I think
I'm thinking out loud, so I still need to figure out my thought process. So if you have something, then by all means go for it.
Yeah.
This is specifically combat, right?
No, in general or in combat, it doesn't matter. Whatever. If you're talking specifically combat, go for it. Any ideas?
Well, this is just the one that I've thought of off the top of my head is, like, I like how Zweihander did things where you had, like, just a variety of things you could do, which I think there's certain classes you have options, like, I think, which is it, Fighter?
Fighter has a couple with, like, their battle maneuvers, if you go Battle Master.
Yeah, so Battle Master has the battle maneuvers, but, like, I would say by and large just have like a variety of options that you could like A, roll for, or just B, choose in a fight, versus just the simple like I run up, I swing my sword, roll for damage, or roll to hit AC, roll for damage, or I fire off my spell, roll for a spell save.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, like give them something more to do.
Like how Zweihander has like perilous stunts and whatnot, to where you can cause more things to happen. Yeah. I going back on what you said about like the CR ratings, yeah, it absolutely is shit, and especially in a world like if you like, I don't feasibly see how someone can run a pure XP campaign, because if we were talking like that, like if you went to like a bard college or a wizard school, it wouldn't be like, all right, here's what you're learning. It would be like, all right, class, today we're going out and slaying goblins.
Remember to kill 500 goblins. Exactly.
If you kill 500 before you go, then you'll be smarter. Like,
Yeah.
like, sir, shouldn't we be like learning spells and like practicing these spells? And he goes, fuck no, it's all about killing and experience. Like,
Yeah.
there's no like way to do it. Like, I like the idea of like having some type of ranking to like say like, all right, if your character is like around this level, here's what it should roughly be fighting. And I like the idea of a CR system, but it doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Well, yeah,
The way that it's set up now.
yeah, and like that's the huge thing is also I think it should be, I feel it should be a skill ranking, and it goes off of the abilities and XP
Yes.
on the health, because at the end of the day, like as a GM, DM, ST, whatever you want to call yourself, we changed the HP. Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even mean to, but when you see what is already happening, you're just like, you just add another 0 at the end of that. Oh yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
I have definitely doubled or even tripled monsters' HP points after seeing what my players have done in one turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like
Just because I'm just like, oh fuck.
like the stereotypical like different monsters and stuff like that, like your beholders, your adult dragons and stuff like. I feel like they just don't even need to like write, the HP or anything. Just give like the set abilities. And just be like,
HP.
How it goes.
HP, a fucking lot. You pick.
Yeah, and that's the huge thing is like I would wish they would give us like the dice and just the dice pool. So like for an adult dragon, I believe it's I think it's like 40 something for like something crazy like D12.
40 D12 I want to say.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. I mean, I could look it up on D&D Beyond. But it's a lot.
I could look it up like a fucking pleb in my
monster
manual.
I bet I can find it faster than you.
Let's do it.
Oh, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just while you look it up. I'm just gonna say like, I wish they would just give us the dice pool amount and just say, hey, 42 D12s. That's the rough estimate of what it should be. But you can give them 10,000 HP. Sure, why not? I don't know why you would, but hell, go for it, dog. Like you have fun with that. And like I wish it was more of abilities.
Turn into a raid boss.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know why you would, unless you give your like you're giving like god breaking weapons to your players. Nobody's hitting 10,000 HP, or like anywhere close. Like the most damage you're gonna end up doing, even at like with legendary weapons, is just like easily like maybe
200-300.
Yeah, 200-300.
Rolling like
really exceptionally well. But you also have to remember, like, barbarians, fighters, they get multiple attacks. So 2 attacks plus, if they have haste from spellcasters, you're getting 3. And if you're doing, second wind and stuff like that, you could end up having like 6, attacks. But, that's the thing where it comes down. Like, I mean, you could do like 500, damage in a turn if you're rolling exceptionally well at high levels. But you'd have to be rolling exceptionally well, and that's the huge thing. Is like, I don't like the fact that it's HP tanks and just like the whole AC system. I wish for the AC system that it was more of a set AC limit. Like if you have, I wish Dex is too. In my opinion, Dex is too strong in 5e. It's too strong because.
Dex is too strong. Strength isn't
too
present
weak
enough, and intelligence.
It's on a rise.
Yeah, they're working on it, but if I ever need things to dip, it's always going to be my strength and my intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Because encumbrance is, in my opinion, a stupid fucking rule.
Yeah,
I understand the concept, but if I have to like keep track of exactly how many pounds every single torch in my bag is worth, like this isn't Skyrim. Like I'm not going to be sitting looking through my equipment and go, okay, where's that 0.1 weight I can drop so I can run again.
And not to mention gold money. Adventurers love gold money. They loot a dragon and they walk out with like 500 platinum, and they're sitting there like, "Poof, I can't move. Give me my good legs." Like, you know, like that stuff. Like commonly, it's just, you know, like gold is, you know, just encumbrances. You know, nah. Like that's not everybody does that unless you're running a specific type of campaign where, you know, you it's, you know, you don't want to have too much, and like it's a very like low magic item, very low gold, so you have to manage every like equipment manage a bit just to make it, you know, to where they're not, you know, doing the whole like, hey, I like, you know, hey, here's my sword, oh, here's my 2 scimitars, oh, I have a great axe, oh, here's my maces, oh, here is my large satchels of gold, and they're a barbarian, so they don't even wear armor. But hey, here's my full plate of armor. Here's, oh, here's a second set of, and then, oh, here's my javelin set. Oh, I also have this fancy little tea set that I found. Don't ask me where I found it. Oh, here's the skulls of my enemies, and just pulls out 50 skulls. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like it grounds you into a little bit of reality, but at the same point, you know, you don't want to, you want to feel, you know, heroic. You want to feel larger than life. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge point of D&D, and I wish, you know, they didn't emphasize so much on AC, and they just give you a set AC per class, not even subclass. So like paladins, they have a solid, you know, 20 AC. Barbarians, they have a solid 17 AC. You know, and they take away, you know, racial natural armor. So turtles don't have armor. It depends on what class they go into. Like, you know, just so that way it's more even. And we can't, you know, it's like armor doesn't play such a big role in it unless it has abilities, you know, so it's not like I need to get to plate armor. You know what I mean? So that way I can have that 22 AC. And then, you know, like, sorry, continue. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, as far as a paladin, I'm probably knocking down to like 18 AC. Like, 20 AC, like, in the beginning, you would not be.
Yeah.
Nothing would hit you.
Yeah, and like that's
maybe something like a scaling AC, like how
Level, yeah.
like how cantrips level up.
yeah,
And
even like
extra
yeah,
attack levels up. Like once you hit like maybe it boosts with your proficiency.
yeah. So like yeah, I like that. So it's like you start out at level 1 with like a, you know, say like a 14, depending on your class. Like you could have like a 14 AC if you're a paladin, or at, you know, heavy, like, you know, tank type class, and like a 12 AC or 11 AC for like your squishier classes. And then as it goes, it scales up with your proficiency, so that way it's always moving forward, and that way DMs don't have to sit there and be like, let's get to the saving throws, you know. So it's just like you still have them, but it's not, you know, so much dependent. Like once you hit, you know, 20th level, your AC is just, you know, a solid, you know, 20, and then you can still have the shields to boost it like by 1 point, or the braces of defense, you know. And then, you know, like I liked in the old games where you had the whole, you have a helmet, you have an armor piece, you know, have a shield. Like you can have like, you know, a little bit like one of each, like, you know, just like how barbarians, they can use bracers but they can't use armor, you know. But you know, then that would help balance it out to where, you know, it's just like the bracers, if you're wearing, you know, full plate armor, you have to have the full plate, you can't have bracers. Like it's a whole like matching set ordeal in order to get it, you know.
Yeah.
So that way it helps balance it out, and it makes that nuance to where, you know, you don't have, you know, potentially like 25 AC, you know, and you can still have it buffered with like a cloak of displacement, so that way if you have, say, a 15 AC, there's still a good chance they're going to hit you.
I like the concept of it, but it also like it takes away part, I wouldn't say player agency, but more of that customization option where you can like, where the sets of armor and the bonuses that it gives you really makes a difference. But it also like that, like it shouldn't be like, how can we change the system? It should be more of a changing, like as the DM, like in some instances, like you shouldn't always be prepping for what's going to give my players a challenge, what's going to be harder for them. Because like if I was an adventurer with a fucking 25 AC, if I was full decked out in plate armor and had a shield, like, and I was like a literal walking tank, yeah, there's going to be instances that I run into where people aren't ready for that. Not every single person is going to be a wizard with a saving throw. But like you said, a lot of DMs will write it that way because that's what gives the players a challenge.
Yeah.
And that's not how black and white like an adventuring system would be, unless I was like a level 20 person, to where if people knew I was coming, they would know to prep for it. Like as a lower adventurer, like if I'm a level 8, level 10 adventurer where I only have a little bit of renown, but I'm very well experienced, there's going to be situations where I'm very well suited for. And that's the kind of situation. Like I should feel rewarded for having those moments, but then also have those moments where I'm challenged.
Yeah.
In like that, like not everything should be always be saving throws, but that doesn't mean that now that I'm a walking tank, I'm immune to everything.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is like also what I'm also saying is like the armor still, you have like the +1, +2, +3 sets of armor. I'm saying as far as like AC goes, is like the base is locked to the class you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, spellcasters will always have low AC, as they do now. But you still have, your mage armor to, give you a buff. But instead of it just being purely dex based, maybe you can add, the double your proficiency, so that way they can be just as tanky as a tank for the day. But they have to expend the spell slot to do it.
Yeah, dex definitely does need to be.
Like that's my only thing
nerfed.
is, like the thing is dex is too strong, which means like monks. I love monks, but monks are crazy. But also rogues. Rogues are crazy.
I wouldn't say completely like rework the AC system, but potentially just replace dex with like either strength or even con. Like something that like
You're still gonna have that same issue of where people are buffering con. I liked adding the to the proficiency bonus. So like for your
so where it scales like that, but like it should be tied to something that is controllable. And but like you kind of got into it earlier about like with min-maxing and role players, there's always going to be people that no matter what the system is, they're going to try and manipulate it to get the best that they can get.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing is like with the initiative and everything, there are feats to take. So that way it brings down to a lot of people love, feats, but it'll allow people to take, the alert feat. It gives you a +5 to initiative. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's still a customization and ways to optimize, but it also comes down to, road mapping. So you can still min max. There still will be ways to do it, but it will be more in the sense of like not saying like I'm just gonna freaking max out my dex to like 20 plus and just keep doing that because I want to be the first one to attack every single time no matter what. I'm gonna get that +15 to my initiative. I mean, there's still ways to do it, but it's still not going to be like prevalent to where like I wish the movement scaled to even the movement scaled from beyond just race, you know what I mean, and class. So that way more people can have movement and more movement options, because like it also, having the bonuses to class as well. Like I think movement should be attached to dex, and then strength should be, oh no, not even like initiative. I think should just be a solid initiative, shouldn't be a skill ability, because every time I tell people, yeah, you have to roll disadvantage when you have 1 point of exhaustion on initiative, because it is a skill ability, because it's attached to dex. So if you have 1 point of exhaustion, you have to roll disadvantage, which I don't particularly like that. I wish it was just initiative was a solid, just a proficiency, like just your proficiency bonus. So you get a +2, 4, and 6.
But then how does that differ like a tabaxi monk or rogue who's like early levels before you're able to take alert feat and whatnot, compared to a more like slow moving, like a Goliath barbarian or Goliath like paladin, like a more
Yeah.
nimble race obviously is going to be able to react to things quicker. Like I still think Dex should tie to initiative, but potentially capping what Dex can do for AC, like they do with early sets. So like where they say, okay, so this is 14 plus Dex with a max of 2. Potentially say, all right, it's this plus Dex with a max of what your proficiency bonus is. To where it still scales, it still gives like the people that are funneling stuff into the Dex, like those like the bonuses for like your character would obviously be able to avoid things a little bit easier, but then have it scaling and have nerfs per se at lower levels.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess, you know, Dex tied to initiative would be great, and then having, you know, Constitution be, you know, health as well as armor class. Like, split, like, even if you just split it up, or like, you know, strength. Well, no, strength wouldn't.
I do like con for AC though.
Yeah, because then I mean, at that point, I mean, it's giving
even more of a reason to dump into con,
because a lot of times, I mean, you still like it goes your main stat. So if you're a caster or whatever, then you have your dex, and then you have a third stat, which is usually, you know, con. So
charisma if you're not a charisma caster.
Correct. Like you always have 3 abilities you're focusing in on, and that would bring it to, you know, more of a reason to, you know, do that. So like, you know, having, you know, the ability to disperse it would be great. And I wish that, you know, as far as, you know, intelligence goes, I think, you know, intelligence should have more prevalence, because all it is a learn. It's not even a main ability anymore. It's an accessibility. I think intelligence, you know, yes, it helps you learn things quicker, do things quicker, but yes,
tie initiative to intelligence, being able to read a battle situation.
exactly. Because if you think about it, I mean, Dex. Yeah, I think, you know what, Dex should be tied to movement. So the
Dex
way that
Dex should be tied to movement, con tied to AC, intelligence tied to your initiative, because your Dex is still going to like affect how you react in combat, and like in how good you are to be able to dodge certain effects or
like
react to certain
movement
things. But a more intelligent person will be able to act quicker in a battlefield because they're able to assess the situation quicker.
Correct. And you know, that would actually be good, because then people would, you know, put more emphasis on, you know, intelligence, because even speaking even speaking from like looking at it from a, you know, standpoint of, you know, a wizard would be able to, you know, sit there and go, okay, 5D chess, you know, beautiful minds the situation, and just go, okay, I need you over there, over there, over there, over there. And then whereas the dexterous people are sitting there going, okay, got it, I'm in position. You know, because they're very reactive. You know, and then like, you'd have like, it would make sense, because like strength-based characters are just be like, I'm a fuck meathead, let's smash skulls, let's do it, boy.
And having like that tactician could also create for more classes to where like what a true support class would be, to where like if they acted like before an ally in initiative, they can use some type of action to boost them, either give them extra movements or almost like a guiding bolt kind of bonus action, to where like they can guide them towards like the target as they're like maintaining the battlefield, to where like people that are into like those types of strategy games have like a true class or even just a subclass.
Yeah, because I mean, like if you look at the Echo Knight, and as well as like the Eldritch, I think the Eldritch fighter is also intelligence based, I believe. That would be great. And then not to mention, you know, like you have your blade singing wizard, and then as well as like the intelligence based rogues. So like the arcane trickster, the mastermind, I feel would be a good one. You know what I mean? Like that would all be, so that way they're still getting benefits and making, you know, good, you know, planning decisions, as well as, you know, making yourself, you, instead of being wise, Like most people go for wisdom because perception and
Absolutely.
seeing, but at that point you're sitting there and you're able to be intelligent, charismatic. But that intelligent and very charismatic seems more dangerous to me than someone that's wise beyond their years, going like, "Oh, I can see this over here." Like intelligence
Yeah.
and
An actual battle tactician.
yeah,
Like having a battle tactician on the battlefield compared to someone who can just see things coming from a mile away. Like, yeah, they can spot it, but what are they going to do to follow up? Like,
correct. Because I mean, like a lot of people say intelligence is a lot like book smarts and wisdom is street smarts. So I mean that seeing it is there, but having to looking at in the moment, like Rain Man-esque kind of thing, that's something completely different. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel that intelligence would be great, especially because I mean if you go to school for say a fighter for instance, like why do you think a lot of the more fighting classes are becoming int based?
yeah.
You're learning.
They're also like, I know that they're trying to like push towards intelligence, but like potentially some type of rework like that to where they say like that you can like that is how it's being run by now.
Yeah.
Which granted it'll probably have to take a new edition to make those types of changes.
Yeah, like people would I'll tell you right now, people would straight up riot if they were just like intelligence now influences initiative. Like people would freaking riot in 5th edition because
and
Dex
people would still just homebrew and say we're still running old 5e, we're
Yeah.
not running 5.5. Like
yeah. Cuz like Dex is the stock standard, because my whole thing is like Dex based people should be rewarded in movement because they're quick as fuck, boy.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah, and that's where I think Dex should land, is being fast, being rewarded for making those fast movements, being able to be quick on your feet, and doing those things and maneuvering yourself, because wizards are super smart but they're not rewarded in any way, because Dex is usually their last option, because that's intelligence, con, and then usually they'll throw into charisma, but they're forced to throw it
they're
in.
going to be the face of the party at that point. Like,
but they're usually forced to throw it in Dex, otherwise they're gonna be dead.
yeah.
Like and it's because that's what I mean by like an AC game, is like I wish well they usually throw it into intelligence, con, and then like wisdom or
Dex.
charisma or Dex, and it's just like there has to be a better way to make Dex less strong, because even the one thing I have, and this is going to be a hot take, is wizards. Why the fuck is nature an intelligence based thing, bruh?
So I remember reading about this. It still bothers me to this day, because it's not. It is intelligence about nature. It is like one of like the like people from Wizards of the Coast. I don't remember who, but I remember seeing this thread that they said that it's not intuition in like in being able to being able to like innately know it. It's about like true knowledge of it. Same with religion. It's not intuition and believing in gods. It's knowing about the gods and their lore. Like it's more of a knowledge based thing, which yes, it's stupid because innate, like you assume like
bruh, druids are wisdom casters, bro. Intelligence is the last thing they're thinking about just for nature.
Yep.
Like that's
Trust me, I know. I know. I have a druid in my party, and we have this debate all the fucking time. And I've debated literally going into D&D Beyond and switching it to wisdom specifically for her character sheet.
yeah. Hi, Kit Kat.
Kit Kat, hello.
Yeah, no, and that's my biggest beef, is like there's not enough strength based things, and like the thing is the way that I like to rule it is, I know a lot of DMs are probably going to take a hot take on this, but in raw rules as written in the DM's guide, it says that if you are doing an athletics, like say you are moving a boulder,
Yep.
but you are not a strength-based character, depending on how you move the boulder will judge how you do things. So like if you're gonna lift it up, athletics. But say if you are a monk and you're just like, I'm gonna jujitsu kick the shit out of that boulder, athletic. It's not athletic. You can choose athletics or acrobatics. So you're gonna do like a jumping backflip and then tumble and then go into it. So you can use whatever stat you're best at. That's how it's rules that's written.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just like, well, I'm gonna do this. It's like, well, say I even let's go uh even simpler as like jumping off a like a hill. You can use athletics or acrobatics. It's either or. Like that's what I wish is like a lot more abilities. It's had a vaster spread of doing more like strength instead of being athletics and intimidation, which are both very valid. I mean, typically, I think
It's not even an intimidation. Intimidation is charisma.
charisma. Oh yeah, that's right, charisma. So
But
I mean,
tying strength to intimidation, tying strength to like other fucking abilities, like creating more of that diversity for it.
Yeah.
Chigen, you look so confused. Yes, it is a
Yeah.
charisma base.
yeah, it's charisma.
That don't make sense.
But
Well-
like we always like tie strength to it. So like I'll usually lower the DC for a stronger character, or hell, like I literally gave the barbarian in my party because he's a very low charisma person. So his intimidation was shit, but he is a 8 foot tall half orc barbarian. So I literally gave him a magic item that gives him expertise in well, no, I gave it to him that said like the whole like it gives you proficiency. If you already have proficiency, you gain expertise. I gave that to him because I'm just like, there's no reason that everyone should not be pissing their pants if this man rolled up on him and said, "Give me your fucking money." Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing is like it should be like with the abilities, it should be like for nature it should be int/wisdom.
interchangeable, yeah.
Like actually on a character sheet, like strength/charisma. Wisdom/int. Like that should be where on a normal paper character sheet or on D&D Beyond to do either or. Whereas Amy's gonna be playing Vampire Masquerade in July. That's lit. Amy's a good bean. And I hope the sunburn gets better. Kit Kat. I mean, it's terrible. Hydrate. Okay. Kit Kat gave us a hydrate. I'm grabbing the nearest thing to me. I wasn't planning on drinking, but it looks like I'm drinking. All right. All right. Yeah. So this is kind of where the formulation of like how I would run it is like a lot of times, it's one of those things where you don't want to you don't like it's the innate DM fear of like, hey, I don't want to do I want to make it fun, but I also want to make it outwardly like, yes, you can roll strength to intimidate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's because a lot of times it goes down to proficiency and trying to do that. I like what you said about the giving them making an item that's not really an item, but saying like, oh, you find a rock or something. Let's just use a rock for instance. You hold the rock. That's like what I did with the with the level up in Secrets.
Mm-hmm.
You see this thrumming piece of something, and everyone's just like, I don't want to touch that. Wait, what the? And it's like, wait, what the fuck is that? And then like, you guys grab it, and then you all level up. Having that, I learned that one from Arcadum. It's having things that are tangible in the world that do more than just act there. And the fact is, like, what do you say? Well, what if they walked away from the item? They wouldn't have gotten their level up.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Like having the having things grounded and attached to the world, allowing things to be customized, and doing things like that. It's just uh you know exactly like that. Touch everything, because eventually something will de-level you. That was the thing in Secrets. You could actually lose levels if you.
Disgusting.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like having a more dynamic world, but the 5e forces you to homebrew,
Yeah.
and that's like one of the issues, and also one of the benefits to it is like it forces you to homebrew because there's not enough education or lore or knowledge on the outward of the whole of Faerun. Because the fact of the matter is, not everyone knows about the Dragon and Giant War. Like, that's just facts. People don't know the world used to be inhabited just by dragons and super giants. Like, not very many people know that.
Yeah.
And these are things that I wish, they would go into. Like, they would actually make a Faerun like lore book, and they would release it, and there would be a compendium, like like almost like a thesaurus of just knowledge from the early days to like a book series, like a part series, like the beginning, early, middle, late, and where Faerun is now. Like not even like an adventuring guide, just a lore book
Yeah.
that had monsters, that had old monsters in it. Like, explain the old gods, and, explain that kobolds are actually badasses.
Yeah.
Kobolds are freaking dope. But nobody knows that. Nobody knows why. You don't know why they hate dwarfs. Nope. You don't know that, that lizard folk actually can change the color of their skin at birth depending on what and where they're buried in. Nobody knows that. Why do I know that? Because I had to look it up. Like, could you have a bright pink lizard folk? Yes, you can. Why would you? I don't know. And did you know that lizard folk are never pure white? There's no such thing as an albino lizard folk. They would be murdered.
Yeah.
That is the wild thing about it, is there's so many little nuances that WotC could make money off of lore books, because I would buy every single one of them. Like, if they did a 10 book like compendium set of just lore, that shit would sell so fast. Yeah. But it's a feat and a half to do, because I understand that it'd be a feat and a half to do, because getting the people to write it, getting all the information together, like, honestly would be a feat, but it'd be worth it. It would really, really be worth it. And I just don't think that they realize how much the knowledge that we really want, and we really, are starved for in Faerun. So they just keep adding other realms, thinking that's going to cure the situation. Which, it's great for ideas. However, it's not the answer we're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. Don't get me wrong, I love a good homebrew. But I would love to play a classic Faerun campaign. But everyone's sick and tired of the Sword Coast. And trying to run a game anywhere else is going to be damn near impossible. You're just going to start making shit up. And then what's different than running a homebrew game and just saying, this is Faerun. Wink, wink. Like, there's just no way. And that's kind of the one thing that sucks, like, about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, I would love to learn more about. You know what? The one book I would accept is if they sent us back to the orc world. Because did you know that gray-skinned orcs, there was a portal just in the middle of a valley for hundreds of years, and gray-skinned orcs were just started walking out of it. And the only reason why they took notice is because the gray orcs found it and they decided to march armies into it. And that we were under attack from like gray-skinned orcs from a different dimension. So gray-skinned orcs are actually orcs nowadays from what we see in Faerun. They're actually from a different world. Surprise! But nobody knows that except me because I'm a D&D nerd. Yeah. You know, and like that's cool though, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
Like, sorry, continue what you were saying.
It could be like brought in and updated or integrated into like the current stuff because, like you said, there's pretty much you have Cali, Washington, Hawaii, and then you have the whole rest of
exactly
everything. They could make books on literally like every other chunk of the region for years to come, and
yeah, and that's the huge thing is like with the and then people could argue, well, why don't you go back and get all the other read all the other old editions, and it's like
because they're old editions.
well, yeah, and the huge thing is like as far as like updating it and just bringing all that some of that information to new and just refreshing it. That's kind of the huge thing that I would like to see is because like I think a lot of people can do a lot of great things, and they could definitely bring a breath of fresh air.
There you go.
Yeah, words. You can tell today was a long one.
Yes.
That it could really breathe some new life into 5e because I don't know about you guys, but in my opinion 5e is getting stale. Like it's even with the new books, even with the new like archetypes and subclasses coming out, like the game isn't getting stale. It's just the books are getting stale, the story's getting stale because to be honest, there really isn't one. And the only thing that keeps it going is the homebrew. In my opinion.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like, except for like bringing in Artificer officially versus just being an Eberron, and like, I think like a specific one for each of like the subclasses, like Tasha's was kind of just meh.
Yeah, and like like with Echo Knight, and then them finally revamping orcs, and I'm just waiting for the Kobold, revamp and stuff. I like exactly Kit Kat. I wish there was more lore and more like they're emphasizing a lot on the mechanical state, but which is great. I mean, always make it better, but like I agree with what Dom said is they're not going to be able to change like the physical stats until later, like until 6th edition, but at least give us some goddamn like new lore or expand on you guys got to have more ideas, you know what I mean? Like it can't just be Sword Coast, and then that's it, like yeah, like for me, like what I would love to see instead of like that wussy Tomb of Annihilation. I want to see the actual Tomb of Annihilation. I want that old book. I want to see that come into 5th edition. I want hard mode D&D. I want to die and like I want to actually die and just like sit there and just like, guys, this is going to be the worst campaign ever. But it's going to be a dungeon crawl. Get ready to make like 17 characters. Let's go.
but that the problem is that that's not really what 5e was founded upon. 5e was like the learner based, like the safety net for people that wanted to tightrope walk into tabletop playing.
Correct.
So you're not going to see as gritty as it used to be. unless either you homebrew something or the DM's like, nah, we're taking the reins off this bitch and we're going hog wild.
Well, no, but that's the thing is like I want to see that book because it's meant to be for that book.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the whole thing of like Baldur's Gate where, you know, Descent into Avernus with that stupid, I'm gonna say it, that stupid bitch that fucking why would you give a level 2 like 3 level 3 spell slot, well 2 level spell slots, and first thing they do is throw a fireball? Like that's just cheap.
The second they fucking walk into the room, yeah, like
And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I need to play by the book, and it's like, well, are you sure? And the trigger is the torch, and fucking lo and behold, the fucking torch, god damn it. Like I want to have that in like an actual book to where it's not just like, you know, a random one-off thing that happens and then the rest of it's just dealing with cultists. I want to see an actual Tomb of Horrors. Like give me a book called Tomb of Horrors, and we all know what we're walking into. If you've played D&D before or read it around, you know what the Tomb of Horrors is. You're not going to go and be like bright-eyed, bushy tails. All right, guys, this is your first game of D&D ever, 5th edition. All right, I've got a thing called a book. It's Tomb of Horrors. Let's get you into D&D for the first time. No, unless you're an asshole. Like, if you're an asshole and you do that to somebody, no. Fucking, you're dick. But if you're like a bunch of experienced players, having that scale, you know what you're walking into.
yeah.
You know, because every, you know, mid to vet player that's played D&D knows what the Tomb of Horrors is. And you come in with that expectation of, okay, I'm rolling up a crew with my crew of 17 people, and then you have 17 people, like we're a whole army of people. And then slowly dying, and then, you know, coming back in, and then just, you know what to expect. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Like I would love to see them re-release it for 5e and make it just as hard. Like that's what I think.
Yeah.
Cause I'm just saying that'd be freaking that'd be lit.
I think there would definitely be something to experience. Definitely a change to the pace of what we've seen recently in D&D. And I would love to see like how they would like take that and modify it, you know?
Yeah.
Like what would change, what would stay the same.
Yeah, because I mean we have Spheres of Annihilation.
Yeah.
Like that's a canon item. Like why can't we do that? Like, you know,
when fucking Agma had one in his back pocket, just Jay fucking chilling.
Exactly. I'm just saying, like, I wish I would have grabbed it. Skeletor hand. Let's go. No, we had a DM that did an asshole move on a campaign. We did some really lucky rolls and loot finds, and he had just attacked us overnight and killed by a band of something. Oh, see, that's just being an asshole. You know, like that's the huge thing is like, as a new player, like you don't know about, you know, keeping watch. It's the DM's job to be like, all right, who's keeping watch? Like set that precedent. You don't give them an option. You tell them like who's taking first watch. And if they say, yeah, nobody, then I mean that's on them. But that's usually the hint of like, yeah, something could happen. You know, but like if you just to go and like, all right, you take a long rest, everyone's well rested. You just skip to the next day if you know nothing's gonna happen, especially if they're in like a fortress or something of their own making. And that's kind of the, you know, that's just an asshole DM. Like my whole thing is like D&D should be fun, but the modules should be fun. I don't know a single person aside from playing the Lost Mines of Phandelver that had a fucking good time with a module. That was just purely module.
Facts.
I can't name a single person. Aside from the Lost Mines of Phandelver, find me a person and name me one person that had a good time in a module. Like purely module. I'll give them a high five because I certainly haven't. Like as running one and, you know, playing in one, no, like that's just stupid. And that's the hugest thing that you know, the game really, the books really, like, they're cool as a guideline. Like, the whole 5th edition is motto is 5th edition. It's just a guideline.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an addition to me. Like, that's just I'm paying $50 just for a fancy book cover and look like, you know, and have like a full bookshelf of things. Like, that's not, in my opinion, that's not a way, you know, edition should be run. I think it should be, you should be able to sit down and open a book and say, all right, so page 1, okay. All right, so we're going to do this, and just look at the players while you're reading it going, okay, so we're going to go to the next town. Okay, so you meet a master sage. And he sounds a little raspy. And, all right, kids, let's sit down and do something. You know, like, it shouldn't be a thing of, like, if the players don't do what you want, literally, this is in Descent into Avernus. If the players don't do what you want, threaten them. No, that literally, that's in the book.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Hashtag King Railroad.
Like, you threaten them with their lie? Wait, and wait, what?
Like, I feel like all these modules, they kind of just need to not be, you know, here are these specific plot points you need to use, and they need to just be more like maps.
And by the way, just for
Hey.
people in chat, or sorry to interrupt, just people in chat, I'll let you finish. Like, it's not like you as the DM threaten them. You use the what's his face, Commander Zaj. He threatens them, not you. Like, you're not you as the DM. Like, it doesn't say in like parentheses like threaten them. Like, it's Commander Zaj becomes more.
Jump the fucking counter and punch your players in the face if they don't agree to this.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. I just want to preface that it's the NPC becomes more aggressive and threatens them, like, I will kill you if you don't help us. And then if the players don't believe you, actually murder one of the player characters. Like, I'm just sitting there like, the fuck? I'm not doing that. You know, but continue. Continue.
So stupid.
Yeah, by the way, it's written in the book. You can go read Descent into Avernus. It's literally within, like, the, I think, first 3 or 4 pages. But continue, Chicken.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of these modules literally just need to be, like, just the vaguest of outlines, major locations, and, like, the major NPCs. So, like, with Descent into Avernus, you have Zariel, you have the trio, you have Joe's 3 characters. I forget what their actual title is. Archon.
Yeah, it's they didn't really have a name, to be honest, as a group, but it was they were all those were all like that's when I started homebrewing, by the way, because I got fed up. But I mean, there was an Archon, which was Kemdir. There was you guys kind of saw Peak. You saw, you know, kids. You guys saw my my direwolf, which, you know, and we had the rogue. We had Ross. We had Jewel. So you all met Jewel, and she was just as she wasn't as crazy as she normally was. I mean, you guys didn't hang around with her. I didn't want her around because she would probably killed somebody. For facts, dude, she's freaking crazy.
I'm aware.
Oh yeah, yeah, she's fucking crazy.
Just like I said, just like the barest of bones of like if you want to make the major opponent of it like Tiamat, do that. Or if you want to make a Zariel, do that. And just like little kind of not so much railroad, but just like a skeleton of what you need to do so that you can then add in your flavor, like, you know, with Kemdir and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then, like, yeah, Archon the Cruel was cool to have with his whole cronies, but he wasn't even the main part of the story. He was just an added character, but I thought he was so cool. But, you know, it's when I started, you actually have to go out and find him. Nobody's gonna do that unless they're metagaming. Nobody's gonna do that.
Correct.
And you know, that's kind of the thing is like and for those, you know, random NPCs, like they should give us bullet points, like give us their attitude, give us their mentality, you know, give us something that we can, as DMs, that are malleable. Like, don't tell me to straight up kill a player character if they don't decide to help. Like, that's not a solution. That's a problem. Because then they're going to come back with a worse character that's going to assassinate that NPC that sets up the next stage for them.
Yeah.
That's just bad. That's just bad DMing and bad advice. And that's coming from WotC, written into their book.
Because imagine like the type of tension you're going to have at the table after like you're like role playing that if you're playing it by the fucking book. Where he says, if you guys don't help me, then get the fuck out of my way or I'm going to kill you. And they don't get out of the way. And you just saying, all right, cool. He walks up to you, stabs you in the chest. Your character is now dead. Like,
yeah.
the fuck?
And, you know, and not to mention, it's a whole situation of that breeds hostility at the table. And then that, you know, scares the living shit out of the other players. Like, he's going to straight up murder us. And, you know, it was the whole thing of, you know, before you guys walked in the room, I asked out of DM, like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, I literally asked, like, I don't think we know if you guys were around during the stream. I didn't have it saved because like that was one of our random games. Like, I literally stopped and was like, are you guys sure? And then they're like, yeah. I mean, are you positive? I double checked. I was like, giving them a chance to be like, no, we put it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was my hint. And then it's just like,
and that's like, you gotta like walk that fine line of like,
I don't want to be like, they're gonna cast fireball at you when you come around that, before you come around that corner.
Yeah.
Like that's too much of a gimme. But it's just like, sit there and be like, are you sure? Are you positive? And if they say, well, I'm gonna, you know, put it out, and just be like, okay. You know, I'd be like, roll me a sleight of hand. You know?
Yeah.
Something. Just to make it a little, you know, cohesive. But I'd make it a low DC, you know, just to be sure that it happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't like the way that Wizards, you know, puts things in books that are unnecessary, but at the same time, it contradicts the whole thing that we have now, which is the golden age of D&D.
Yeah.
There are certain things that I just don't agree with, but there are some good things that come from it. Like, their storytelling, in my opinion, is weak sauce, but their mechanics and their creativity for classes and subclasses and races, great. You know, great. I love it. You know, and I still haven't gone through the whole book of Wildmount yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be just as shit. Because, you know, like, my whole thing is I hope Matt had a better influence on it. Because he's a great, I will say, like, everyone has their whole, oh, Critical Role is poo, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to say he's a great storyteller. You know, and I will say that his earlier books were hot garbage because he didn't know how to formulate them. But now that he has experience with it, they are better.
So far?
There was 2 prior. There was the guy. There's Taldore, and then there's the guide to there's not Wildmount, but he had a second book that was like an Exandria compendium or something like that. Yeah. There was like 2 other books. Like, there was a first one, and then there was a second one, but they were both very good.
Explorer's Guide to Wildmount.
And then Wildmount is when they, you know, really refined everything, because after he did that, you saw him go back and redo the Bloodhunter class. Wonder why it's, you know, it got way better, because he had that experience under his belt. Because the Bloodhunter class before that was very unbalanced and not very good. He fine-tuned a lot of the changes and everything like that, and it became very good after that. But that is kind of where, you know, you run the fine line of what is good and what is not good, but at the same time, it's very subjective. There are some people that are like, I love Descent into Avernus. It was the best module ever. I just, there are certain things, as I guess it comes from the idea of I like to homebrew, but it's one of those things where it's just like I shouldn't default to homebrew. That's my thought process.
If we're going to invest all the money into getting the book, it needs to be, a good book.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's kind of the huge thing is like, they're selling it with a premium price tag of $50. I should expect more than a guideline. I should be expecting a full story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same point, I mean, that's all.
Or at least give me a novel to read.
Yeah, it's like the old the Dragonlance books. Like those are a full story. And you're paying a good price tag, and then they were based off of Dungeons and Dragons. Like I'm not asking for like a full novel in a book, but it should be something that my players should be excited for. Not saying that you guys weren't excited for Descent into Avernus, but I had to do a lot of fucky wucky to make it something that wasn't wasn't easy.
And that's what I had to do with my Monday Night campaign, because it was supposed to be Princes of the Apocalypse. But very quickly did the trope of there's a cult involved run out real fucking quick, because then when I started trying to tell stories of my own, they're just like, all right, so what cult is this tied to? I'm just like, I literally had to tell them, I'm like, guys, I know the beginning of this story has broken you, but not everything fucky wucky that happens in the world is cult related.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you have to remember that the 5th edition, like, that's why 5th edition is tied to the basis of if you look at the first book that was released, which was the what the fuck is it called?
Prince of the Apocalypse.
No.
The Poda is one of the first books they released.
This was the first book. The first book was this is all of them condensed together, but it's the Tyranny of Dragons series. So so the first book is literally the first one is a Horde of the Dragon Queen, which is a cult. Rise of T-Match, which is a cult.
Nope.
And then the third one is it's just all cult. And that's kind of where the trope begins, is because this is obviously the new one. So this is all like both of the books condensed together, but it's all cult. And because then this book leads into the Princess of Apocalypse, which is cult, which then leads, and then you also have freaking what the hell is the name? Ghosts of Salt Marsh. Cult.
Descent to Avernus.
Cult.
It's an easy thing to go off of, but it's like, come on.
Okay, hear me out, right? Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Not a cult.
You're talking. Okay, so you're talking about. I know what book you're referring to. It's this one.
I was waiting for you to come back with nothing in your hand.
Oh, that would have been funny.
What was the?
Not a cult. I got exactly what you're looking for.
Cool.
Hold on.
One like before Rhyme of the Frost Maiden. What was that one?
That one involves the cult.
Make your own.
Okay. No, Rhyme of the Frost Maiden involves a cult.
No, I know. What was the? It was the Dungeon of the, like, Mad Mage or something, or Red Mage. What was that?
Oh yeah, the Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
Yeah.
Oh, Acquisitions Incorporated is the cult. Don't lie. I'm just kidding.
Because I have drawn a fucking blank on the book.
What
was it?
Sword Coast Adventure. That cult.
Cult. Absolutely a cult. The entire Sword Coast is a cult.
Cult. Yeah. So we figured it out, guys. 5th edition is
The
cult.
Cult of the Sword
Cult.
Coast.
Waterdeep. The two Waterdeep stories.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
One of them is a cult, I believe.
One of them's the cult.
Well, Dragon Heist, I don't think is, but Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Dragon
But-
Heist, I believe, like sets up a lot of stuff with the factions, though.
Yeah,
Which
I don't
feels very culty.
Yeah, because like what I would love to see, Fifth Edition do is a political intrigue book.
You put a lot of emphasis on political intrigue.
Well, the thing is with Waterdeep, you have a lot of, it could be. I would love to see it, set in Neverwinter, against like the dark, the dark houses of the Underdark, as well as different nobles, and do like a political intrigue campaign, and have it be a book, and just have it be a good book. They can throw some cults in there, sure, I mean it's gonna happen, but not making an emphasis. But at the end of the day, it's just like I don't know if that's gonna happen. We'll see in the with the next books coming out, because hopefully they're gonna start going into, they've been doing lore books more and more. I mean, they just redid Van Richten's guide, so I mean, like, hopefully they'll go start expanding in the next year or two. Odie, what's up, Odie? So hopefully in the next year or two they'll start running that well dry of only having the Sword Coast, and hopefully they'll be able to do something a little bit spicier, do something a little like different.
I see.
It isn't like a tie-in. 'Cause
Yeah.
you got a lot of the MTG stuff coming around, but it seems like we're supposed to be getting like 3 books. It's like MTG, Feywild, and then there's supposed to be another one coming in.
Yeah, because I'm hoping to like see, the thing is I don't mind like the MTG stuff because it gave us satyrs, and then the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica gave us more like guild emblems and stuff like that. I would love to see them
Through that.
yeah, I'm really looking to, I really hope that they do more like do a political intrigue kind of campaign. I wish they would do an homage to the old games and bring back like because a lot of the thing is a lot of the older D&D players are sticking to 2E or 3.5 and saying this is the way we're doing things. 5th edition, bring something from the old ways into 5th edition is my hope for in the next 2 to 3 years. And hopefully they expand on and they take something from the Kickstarter community, because the Kickstarter community is killing it right now with books, like adding like essentially Pokemon battles. I don't know if you guys have seen the book. I forget what it's called. It's called like what is it? His name starts with an S. It's like Sid Meier's or something like that. I don't remember. It's like his guide to like fanciful beasts and creatures, and it literally gives you guides on taming wild like animals, and then raising them, and them learning skills. And then he has essentially Pokemon battles and like a formulation, like it's called like Pet Arena, where you can essentially have fucking goddamn Pokemon battles in D&D. Like that's so cool and that's so creative. But Wizards, someone else had to create it. Like,
Yeah, I see. Like,
They-
like different D&D game or D&D groups I'm in. It's like I always see stuff getting posted on Kickstarter, or the stuff that like Ginny D is advertising on her channel.
yeah.
I'm always like, that's fucking amazing. But it's like I wish Wizards would at least like get into a deal with somebody so like we could at least see it in Beyond.
Yeah, like
Some kind
and
of Beyond integration would be nice.
yeah, and like that's why a lot of like the third party applications are picking it up, because D&D Beyond is primarily WotC owned. They do a lot of like their contract through them. That's why they're able to get things so like pre-ordered and everything. But also, Kit Kat, no, a milkshake does not count as eating. Go get yourself some real food. But like this is where the argument becomes like, do we rely on third party creators over for a new base game, or do we still trust WotC to make a good product? What are your guys' opinion?
Trust WotC, but be ready to in case shit goes fucky wucky. Trust that they'll fix issues in like a 5.5 or 6, but be ready in case they don't. Like when fourth edition fucked up, we had Pathfinder to fall on.
Well, Pathfinder is a that's
I know it's still
it's not like D&D based.
Yeah,
Pathfinder is a different system completely.
But in that same concept of like, if this fucks up, what's the fallback? Where do we go?
Pathfinder 2e came out like a while ago. I have the core rule book for 2e. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm specifically saying like, do we rely on 5e like content creators out there more than we do with WotC? That's the big question. It's not going to a different system, staying still in the same 5e system. Do we trust WotC? Because like right now what I'm saying is like, for the core like classes and stuff, like definitely, but everything else, it seems like other like creatives are just doing better.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just saying like for me it seems like Wizards of the Coast is half listening. They're just like, you want more race options, you want more options here, yeah, we'll give you them, and then that's it. They're I get that they're a massive company. Well, they're not massive, but it's actually the exact opposite. They're a small company, but
they're, at least like oversight is just kind of out of touch. Like, I forget who was it. I think like Hasbro was talking about like D&D esports.
the hell?
Back. Yeah,
well, that doesn't surprise me, because I mean, like, everything was esports. Like, they were starting like on a sidebar. They had like actual like NFL style esports teams for every state. That never took off. Like, they were trying to do it with Overwatch League, and where they had like the Texas like fucking Outlaws or something. Like, they were trying to be like a full like actual sports team. I don't see how would they do that with D&D. I don't know.
They could. It was very much like, I think like right after that, all the major outlets were like, yeah, that's no, that's out of touch.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's no good way for that. But like, the thing about it is like, how do you guys feel about the current state of 5th edition? Because we're not in a lull, but we kind of are, but we aren't. Like,
we're coming up on a lull. I really think, because like I said, with Hatasha's was kind of like, there's like, there's not much they can really do without like seriously shifting things, like trying to, like, ancestries aren't that hard. Like, there's 3 or 4 books like on I forget what the website is, but it's like there's so many different books for stuff like that. But actually, trying to bring that fully into 5e and fully into like D&D Beyond would be, an undertaking.
yeah.
So like I said, stuff like that, and trying to change things around, like what we're talking about with shifting AC to con, dex to like movement, trying to try to make those updates. You now have to fight with D&D Beyond, as well as just people who are familiar with 5e over the past 7 years.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with you. where it's just like it shouldn't have to be a question or a fight to, you know, like it should I'm not saying like as a D&D player we shouldn't have we're, no matter what, people are going to have their issues and their gripes with it, but I feel that, you know, nothing is perfect, and that's D&D or any medium in general. However, I feel that as much R&D as they do with Unearthed Arcana, they don't like do an outreach of like, you know, like even like a fan choice of books. Like what do you want to see us release, and have it be released in a year or two after? You know, like what do you guys want?
Yeah, like
What's the next thing you as a fandom want to see? Do you want to see more Sword Coast? You know, give us an option. So like take it, like they actually as a company, and this is being real, they have the next 2 years planned out, or they should at least bare minimum the next year. Once they have that figured out, you know, going forward, I think what WotC should do is put out a survey for Unearthed Arcana, because all the content creators are going to be like, oh shit, everybody do the survey. What do you just a simple question, what are the next 3 books you want to see? And then have it be lore, class related, and, you know, give us a reason. Like, don't just say check a box. Like, give us a reason. Give us what you would like to see.
yeah, because it's very, all the surveys they send out are very, you know, kind of distanced in general. Like they'll have like what are like the like locations and stuff like that. What do you want to see return? It's usually like the hot buttons like Spelljammer and stuff like that. But there's nothing ever deeper than that. It's just check.
Yeah, like I would love to have a deeper, you know, questionnaire asking what we would like to see, what we want next, what we're looking forward to. Because that would be my hope, is hopefully in the future we will see, you know, bigger and better things from WotC and, you know, D&D in general, because obviously I don't want, you know, this to be turned into a world of darkness. I don't want to see, like, you know, it could turn into Pathfinder, because D&D is D&D.
Yeah.
And it needs to stay itself. But I want to see them either create new Faerun lore. Specifically. Not Shadowfell, not Feywild, not Astral Plane, not outer space, just Faerun. The continent. Or create a goddamn new continent. Like Runefey. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. You know, create a new goddamn continent that we can explore. If you don't want to explore Faerun anymore, maybe they're tired of it. Maybe they're just like, I don't want to play with you anymore. You know, like.
I'm surprised I haven't done that, because I feel like it's a lot of stuff is kind of like nostalgia.
Yeah, you
Nowadays,
know,
like just like let them run wild. Let Perkins and the rest of them just
yeah, cause,
just put
and
something together.
I also think it's like IP protection, because, you know, D&D has been around for a long time, and I think it's also a thing where, you know, they're afraid, because, you know, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, Gary Gygax and Luke Gygax and, you know, all the Gygax family just trying to preserve the memory of, you know, the game, but make it better. However, you know, at the same point, there has to be a tipping point of what can we do to make D&D new? Make something that they haven't seen yet. Because the last time that happened was Eberron. That was the first and last time there was something that was fan made that made it into D&D culture. Yeah, sure, they canonized, you know, Matt Mercer and Critical Role, but that was just, you know, that was because Critical Role, like right now they're sitting at 50k people and it's their off season.
Yeah.
You know, their last episode they reached well into 150,000.
Yeah.
I was one of them. I was hyped for it. I love it, dude. I love it, dude. It's one of those things where it's just like, they also canonized, you know, Magic the Gathering, because why not? Magic has always been solid, and it's a
Hasbro IP.
It's Hasbro IP with, you know, Wizards of the Coast.
Or Wizards of the Coast, I should.
Yeah, you know, that's kind of the thing where it's just like they need something fresh, but at the same time, it's not that the game is getting stale and people are not playing it because homebrew's a thing, but they as a company need to revitalize and think of something new, or you know, giving us something big. Because I'm hoping with like the dragon lineage that they don't just sprinkle it into a book like they did with, you know, Tasha's.
Like Tasha's was nice, but literally all it did was go, okay, all of these books that we made before,
This is
like
how
all of
they
this-
fit in, and this is how they.
all of this UA, here it is.
And then, not to mention, like the Alexandrian orcs, which were smarter and better. They're just like, now those are canon into Faerun.
Or like Bladesinger. Bladesinger was, what is it? It's like elf specific,
Now it's not.
and now it's not. Everybody can do it. Artificers, they were in Eberron. Now they're canonized to 5e.
And that's kind of what I hope that in the interim and in the future they fix. But that's kind of where I stand. Is, you know, in my opinion, base D&D is stale. It's old. Everybody can agree on that. It's kind of known, but I think, you know, people like this is a small podcast, small stream. Unfortunately, you know, no big streamers are gonna, or you know, it goes back. It goes beyond big streamers. You know, are just like, you know, influencers in general. Like something big needs to go to shake them awake, to be like, hey, give us something new. But that's not going to happen unless it's someone that knows WotC specifically and can have that, you know, influence without feeling like I burned a bridge.
Yeah.
Because you damn well know Critical Role ain't going to do that, because then they're not going to get a second book. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of a thing where it's just like, I hope at some point, you know, Wizards of the Coast sees it and they just go, "You right, dog. I think it's time." But I think because Dom, you have to work.
Yeah.
We are gonna cut the podcast there. Now, bear in mind, I want to preface this that yes, we talked a lot of smack about D&D. We all love D&D.
Facts.
This D&D is super important to us. D&D is more than just a game. There are a lot of benefits, and there are a lot of great things that come from D&D in and of itself. It comes down to self-expression, self-love, finding yourself, whether you are binary or not, you know, or maybe if you're straight and you want to play a non-binary, you know, character and really understand every part of the spectrum. And oftentimes me and Dom make jokes like, yeah, if we play two guy characters, we would make out. Would we do it in real life?
Yes.
Yeah. But
I knew that was coming. I was like,
What did you expect of that?
yeah,
You
I
opened that
I even like chickens, just like they would. But you know, it's one of those things where it's just like it offers you a freedom, and the homebrew is what makes it special. And the way that you can meld the game is what makes it special at the end of the day. Everybody has a different experience, good or bad, and you can share your experience on a medium like this. You know, the Misfits Menagerie is something that's it's becoming special to all of us. That's why, you know, us coming together, doing this podcast, it's not just me asking people to do it. It's other cast members saying, I want to do it. Oh God, it's Double Shot Nicole. Oh my God. Oh shit. And she has a Sarah emo. Oh my God. And it's one of those things where it's super special to us, and we hold it close. And D&D means something different to everybody, and that's what oftentimes, you know, we all have to remember, is that it's not about the game. It's a base game. In general, it's about the people that are at the table, and that's what's important, is the other people standing across from you from the screen or at the table itself. what makes the game special for you? What makes you come back to the table every time? And, you know, at the end of the day, yes, we're asking for more WotC and base material, but that's just so that we can have more fun with our friends. Because it always comes down to friends and adventures that you can't do yourself. Like me, I can't kill a dragon. You kidding me? I'd freaking
I'm with that
die.
attitude.
Yeah.
Pussy.
I am what I eat. What's that? No, that's so goddamn, it's so fucking, it's that. I don't think that way, guys.
Yeah, you do.
Shut up. Don't dox me on stream. Nickel, it's going good. It's going good. We're about to wrap up. So what we're gonna do is these are final notes. Does anybody have anything to say as far as that? Because, you know, I wanted to preface that we don't hate the game and we're not shitting on the game that we're playing, because that's definitely not what the goal of this podcast is. It's to get our opinions about the state of the game, the tabletop in self. Is there anything else that you guys want to add, positive or not positive? Yeah, no,
I
yeah.
think we got it all out.
Yeah, no. All right. So, all right, we got everything out, which was great because, you know, I missed the stream playing Tarkov. Wow, Nicole. You and your wife here are so cute, though. But wow. You missed my stream? Rude. I'm just kidding.
This fucking guy.
Yeah, no. Just imagine if I was that way. It's gross. It's gross. But no, I hope you had fun. But guys, gals, everything in between. Not a spectrum. You got a new picture though? Bet. What I want you guys to do, if you are a sub, use the sub raid command. If you are a not sub, use the norm raid command. We are gonna go say hi to my mother. She's not actually my mother, but she is my mother. Is she or isn't she? We're going to see Amy sometimes. She's playing Final Fantasy 14 online. She is a great being of a person. Guys, gals, everything in between, not a spectrum. Thank you for the most important thing. That is your time. Go spam the Rad Pack emotes and everything like that. And I will see you all tomorrow with some Final Fantasy 14. Let's go.
Bye-bye.